just had a very interesting interaction with the gender critical on Tumblr, and I think it just kind of confirmed to me how the cult kind of operates. The original post was a not very civil rendition of me pointing out how much I hate gender criticals using disabled people as shields for their hatred of trans people. So she turned up to tell me this has never happened, I'm making up scenarios to be mad at. To which I showed her the exact post that I've been talking about. Which is where it gets interesting. You see, her response was to send me incredibly triggering screenshots of threatening things that apparently trans women had said. Number one, none of the accounts were identifiably run by trans women, as in there was no photos, there was no identification, they looked like burner accounts. Number two, that wasn't actually a response to anything I'd said. You see, it turns out part of the reason I was finding it so easy to respond was she was 16, and she was obviously following a preset plan. You see, she'd been primed to throw in the most inflammatory, the most triggering, the most false information to try and get a reaction. The intent was to get me to blow up and be really cruel. But the end goal of sending a 16-year-old to do that isn't to make me upset, it isn't to own the transes, it isn't to recruit, because she's not going to be able to do any of that. It's to make her upset. The point is to back her into a corner so she goes running back to whoever gave her that information and they can tell her, you did a good job. This is why you're a good person. It's an argument that she is primed to lose. By showing this really horrible imagery, she thinks she's throwing down an ace card of this is why I'm right. I'm looking at that going, that is clearly false information. And after years of dealing with gender critical people, trans people will often lash out. So when she gets this barrage of abuse, it just reinforces the idea that she is a victim and therefore she is fighting the oppressor. But the point is, she is now isolated from having a conversation with anyone like me. It's the same tactics of the alt-right pipeline, and I know this because they tried it on me. If I can't defend myself, I was 13, very stupid, and it was just militant atheism. I didn't get past the anti-feminist stuff because what they told me directly contradicted my life experiences. And that is the kicker. They couldn't recruit me because what they were telling me was something I already categorically knew to be false. And that's the kicker. If someone is telling you something that seems to reinforce your worldview, you're not going to question it. Gender criticals capitalise off the fact that a lot of young women had really horrible experiences with men. But that's the patriarchy's fault, not trans people. But it's very easy to conflate the two if you don't have life experience talking to trans people. And because she's been primed to be that offensive, she is unlikely to get that experience. And I wish there was a way I could explain this to her.